Hello everyone, it's Ron Wilkerson. Today we're going to take a look at some other photos that I've shot a few years ago, and this celebrity that many of you who are sports fans may recognize, even though he may not be still, active as a Houston Rocket. Most of you will know who Matumbo is. Well, a few years ago, I was contacted by a company that was working with him to promote this new shoe line. And they wanted to bring him into studio and do some semi-environmental style shots, some product shots, things with him, in a suit, which we were able to achieve, some things promoting the shoe itself, as well as, his personal celebrity. So we brought him into studio, we got his makeup done, and what really was a push for time is because the same night he was scheduled to to play. So right after leaving the studio, he was on his way over to the stadium to perform. And here's a shot of all the people that were involved. That's our makeup artist. This gentleman here was the director. I think that was his assistant. And I don't know who this guy was, but he was there. So I know a lot of you ladies have been messaging me asking if I only shoot boudoir, if I only shoot models. No, I've worked with a number of different mediums as far as photography goes. So whether it's working with athletes or working with executives, doctors, professionals, product photography, whatever it may be, you have to be flexible in this industry if you're going to be successful. As you see, my phone will not be quiet even when I silence it. So I'm going to show you guys really quick how I set this up. And like I said, this was back in the day when I was in a position where I felt like I was still learning a lot, almost on a daily basis, from shot to shot, shoot to shoot, I would learn something new. And I would archive that information, and I would go back, days or weeks later after the shoot, and I would draw out exactly what happened. And I really wish, back then, I probably have a gazillion sketchbooks somewhere in storage, where I went back in and I did sketches and I was looking at the lighting from the studio and how the lighting was falling. So if you look here, you can kind of see the main light because you have a really good catch light in his eyes. You see some, shine on the face, but that's from the main light itself. Let's see if we see the same thing here. We zoom in. Yeah, you can see the main light. So you can see the catch light in his eyes. All right, so let's jump over here and take a look at the actual diagram. All right, so this is how it was set up. This was a really, really large studio back in the day, and it was a shared studio. So there was always a ton of lights and, gear. Myself and other photographers would, allow each other to use each other's lights and things like that. So generally, this is what I set up. We had a very simple white background that was up against one of the short walls. I had two really inexpensive lights that I was using to light the background. And that was back in the day, long before the pro photos. And I don't think I even had alien bees back then. I think I was using something even more budget conscious. But the main light was an alien bee. It wasn't mine, but it was one that I had access to. So I had that in a really, really large umbrella, which was producing the majority of the light. So it's just basically a wash of light. What I wanted to do, what my goal was to illuminate him, shadowless as best as possible. Now, of course, he's walking around, so there's going to be footprints all over the seamless paper, that type of scenario. But I mean, that's something you tend with for the most part in post. But the advantage to doing these type of shoots, you don't really have to worry about as much the post work, because these images are going to be then sent off to a marketing agency, and then they're going to go in and have their guy come in and do whatever they want done to the image. So all you really need to do is be there to capture the image the way they specifically want it done, and the rest is history. So let's jump back over really quick back to capture one. And like I said, we did quite a few shots, and I mean, I look at these images, and let's adjust the exposure on this one just a little bit. And I mean, you can see, definition in the arm, because, he was in his uniform. There's really not a lot you can do with that, because these things are so, easily flowing from the material they're made of. I mean, we got a couple of shots where it's obviously easy for you to read the name of the team, his number, things like that. That was important to them, as well as, a few shots like this, because this is something that will wind up on a poster, most likely with the shoes superimposed upon it or something along those lines. So they had the two different uniforms. So here's him in the white. And I think this is a bit overexposed, so we're going to adjust that just a touch, bring that brightness down. And let's see what our shadow's doing. Yeah, so, these would be relatively easy to edit, because you don't have a lot of hot spots or anything like that. You got good eye contact from the shots. He's a professional, so that's not an issue. This wasn't his first photo shoot, but we had fun. That's the key. I mean, he even found a guitar somewhere laying around in the studio, and he started playing with that. So we got a couple of shots like that, just so we could have them for our own portfolios or things like that, So the key to a lot of this stuff, man, is to make it fun. Now, I did play around a little bit with something more portrait just so we would have it. And here's another shot that we did, him, looks like he's in love with the ball. But, he's a very strong, dynamic type of personality, so you want to be able to capture that as best as possible in your imagery. That eye contact is crucial, showing off his physique, things like that. It's a win. Now this image, I've edited it a number of times, and usually what I have done with this in the past is I've converted just to a black and white, because it just looks so powerful as a black and white. But that's pretty much it, guys. So regardless if you're working with a executive or you're working with, a sports celebrity, your high school kids, that you're doing, school portraits or something like that, I cannot emphasize it enough, is going to be understanding your lighting, getting a good grasp and control of the lighting, because if your lighting is good, you could literally capture these images with a smartphone. Well, you couldn't trigger the lights, without using maybe one of those new Pro Photos. I think Godux has now some lights also that can be triggered from a smartphone. Yeah, so you may want to look at that. If there's a link for it, I'll drop it below just in case you guys are curious about that. And here's a shot of the shoe. We were not doing product photography. I just shot this just so I would have it, so I'd know exactly, what the product was supposed to look like once they put it out there somewhere. So, all right, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please do so. If you are an aspiring photographer or know a few that may benefit from, some of the things that I'm, putting together in these videos, share the videos with them. Let's start a dialogue. So if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below, and I will do my best to answer those questions as soon as I see them. Until next time, stay safe. It's been your boy Rome. I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace. I'm out.